let's just start with the basics, like how to evaluate an inverse trig function. These are the definitions of the inverse trig functions that you have to memorize if you're going to take calculus, and you have to memorize actually in pre-calculus. But I give these to my calc students, and I say, rather than memorizing the ranges for y, sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse, memorize it as a picture. Like the range for sine inverse has to be an angle between negative pi over 2, that's down here, and pi over 2, which is up here. For cosine inverse, you have to be between 0 and pi. That's up here. And tangent inverse is pretty easy because it's just like sine inverse, except you don't include the two endpoints, negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So here's how I approach a inverse trig problem. I say, all right, I want cosine inverse of negative 1/2. Let's call that y. So if y is cosine inverse of negative 1/2, that means that cosine of y is negative 1/2. I'm reading right from the definition here. It means cosine of y is negative 1/2. And the important part, y isn't just any angle. Y is an angle between 0 and pi. Here's pi, here's 0. There's only one angle that's going to satisfy that. And here you really need to have memorized your unit circle, or else this is going to be, long and hard for you to do. But if you've memorized your unit circle, you know that that angle is 2 pi over 3. That's the only angle between 0 and pi whose cosine is negative 1/2. Okay, let's do another one. Let's find tangent inverse of negative root 3. So that means the tangent of y is negative root 3. And y can't be any angle. Y has to come from the interval from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So since the tangent is negative, we know we're down here in quadrant 4. And tangent is the slope of the terminal side, so that's going to have a steep slope. And so that's the angle negative pi over 3. You might say, well, why can't I use 5 pi over 3? Because 5 pi over 3 also lives here. And the tangent of 5 pi over 3 is negative root 3. That's all true, but y has to come from, by definition, the interval from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. And that's why you have to use negative pi over 3. Okay, now let's do the ones where you needed to draw a triangle, and some people had a little trouble with this on the quiz upload work. These inverse trig functions you can't do in your head, like sine inverse of negative 2/5 is not an angle we're familiar with. So let's let y equal sine inverse of negative 2/5. Ultimately, we would like to know what tangent of y is. But this tells us that sine of y is negative 2/5. So let's draw a picture. I really shouldn't use y because I'm going to think of y as the length of one of the sides. So I'm going to switch that to a theta. Let's let theta, sorry about that, be sine inverse of negative 2/5. So sine of theta is negative 2/5. So I need to draw a picture, and I need to put the angle in the correct quadrant. All right. If theta is sine inverse of negative 2/5, theta has to be down here in quadrant 4. So I'm just going to draw a generic triangle. There's my theta. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this side's negative 2. The hypotenuse is 5. Then I can fill in the missing side by using Pythagorean theorem. 25 minus 4 is 21. Okay, now I've got all the sides of the triangle filled in. Tangent of theta is what we want because we're calling theta, this is all theta. So tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent. negative 2 over the square root of 21. And I'm okay with you not rationalizing. That's a fine answer. Okay, let's do another one. Sine of cosine inverse of 4/5. So let's let theta be cosine inverse of 4 over 5. So that means the cosine of theta is 4 over 5. And theta's got to be, since the cosine's positive, theta's got to be in quadrant 1. So I'm going to draw my triangle in quadrant 1. Here's theta. Cosine is adjacent 4 over hypotenuse. Some people call that x over r. This would be y over r. I'm just using the terms adjacent for the side closest to the angle and hypotenuse for the hypotenuse of the triangle. And then we can fill in the missing side using Pythagorean theorem. 25 minus 16 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So this is actually a 3, 4, 5 triangle. And now we can finish off the problem. Sine of theta. Sine is the y over the r, the y over hypotenuse, 3 over 5. And that's it. So in the comments, when I did the upload comments, I said you need to draw the triangle correctly and you need to draw it in a coordinate system so I know what quadrant you're in. Some people were just drawing triangles just floating out in space. Okay, that's no good. You got to show me where your triangle is. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Bye-bye.